So, if you're here, you've probably heard about all the benefits of eating plant-based, but have questioned how many of those statements are really true. That's what I'm here to help. Today I'm going to be explaining about all the different types of ways eating plant-based saves the environment. To start off, I wanted to mention a few facts according to the Vegan Calculator. Following a plant-based diet for a year saves 365 animal lives, prevents the destruction of 10,950 square foot of forest, reduces CO2 emissions by 7,300 pounds, and conserves 401,500 gallons of safe drinking water. Hi, my name is Lena. Welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you couldn't already tell by the title, I am vegan. I've been vegan for about 9 months now. And today I just wanted to take the time to explain the benefits of being vegan, but specifically 3 categories in the environmental issues. If you haven't already done it, go ahead and like this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you already haven't, and thank you so much for watching. Let's get straight into it. If you didn't already know, one thing that's a huge part of being vegan is how much water you conserve. So the planet is 70% water, so only 30% is land and continents. But of that 70%, only a very small amount is safe and fresh drinking water. The problem with that is there is currently 783 million people who don't have access to clean water. Living a plant-based lifestyle means that less water goes towards livestock and can be redistributed to people in need. In fact, the meat and dairy industry uses a full 1/3 of the entire planet's fresh water. There's hundreds of studies that show people who are eating plant-based uses 5 times less water than someone who is on a meat diet. Here's why. It uses, if not hundreds, thousands of gallons of water to just create 1 pound of meat. To be extremely specific, beef is 1,800 gallons of water per pound, and dairy isn't much better, requiring 1,000 gallons to create a gallon of milk, with pork following at 578 gallons, and chicken at 468. So reducing the amount of meat we eat can almost save half of that amount of water that we would use on a meat diet, if that makes any sense. There was a systematic review published in the Public Library of Science in 2016, and it looked at a variety of common sustainable diets compared to a normal Western diet. They figured out that vegan diets use the least amount of water out of all the other diets, and that this diet changes at least 50% of the way water is used. It's not only about the amount of water that we're using, but it's also about how animals cause a lot of pollution. Even the United Nations has reported that livestock is most likely the largest source of water pollution. That means that eating plant-based has more of a positive planetary impact than turning off your water while you brush your teeth, or even taking a shorter shower. Not only is it livestock, but consuming seafood is also a huge problem. There is a huge amount of overfishing, habit damage, and species endangerment that goes towards how much seafood we actually eat. Now, not only is it water, but it is also land that is affected by livestock. Only 30% of the planet is continents and land, so 45 of that 30% is used towards livestock. Although only 1.5 acres is able to produce 375 pounds of meat, if we were to use that land towards plant-based diets, that would be able to produce 37,000 pounds of plant-based food. In other words, meat requires 18 times more land than a plant-based diet. That same study shows that if everyone were to start eating plant-based, the use of farmland would be reduced by 75%. That's an area equivalent of the US, China, Australia, and the EU combined. A huge part of agriculture is deforestation. Imagine reducing your meat consumption can almost save hundreds of forests. A topic that we should be highlighting all the time but was specifically highlighted this summer was the burning of the Amazon rainforest. So imagine you eating less meat could contribute to saving the lungs of our planet. According to a study conducted by the Union of Concerned Scientists, the demand of meat has been growing globally, which has led to the loss of millions of acres of forest. We are now more than ever sacrificing the life of forests in the name of agriculture. And speaking about the lungs of our planet, over 91% of the destruction of the Amazon goes towards the raising of livestock. In fact, 1 or 2 acres of rainforest is cleared every minute for the grazing and feeding of livestock. Without the protection of sun-blocking tree covers, forest soil dries out and those forest lands now become a barren of deserts. What's even worse is the higher production of meat in the past few years has caused 35% of heat-trapping gases produced by deforestation. To give you kind of a scale on how to look at these things, we are almost 8 billion, and for every person there is about 3 livestock. So 8 times 3 is 24 billion livestock. The amount of land that is needed to raise 24 billion livestock is undescribable. But the land that is used to raise those 24 billion livestock could be saved only by following a plant-based diet. There's this huge elephant in the room when it comes to talking about greenhouse gas emissions, and that elephant is agriculture. The meat industry is responsible for over 18% of all greenhouse gas emissions. That is more than the exhaust of all transportation on Earth combined. There are 2 gases that cows produce, and you've probably heard of both of them. In cow farts. When a cow farts, it releases methane and nitrous oxide in their manure. These 2 chemicals are largely connected to climate change. Speaking on one of my previous mentioned issues, which is deforestation, the clear cutting of rainforests for livestock pastures releases carbon into the air, which contributes to climate change. Vegan is the diet that has the smallest carbon footprint when looking at and comparing the other diets to veganism. We usually see an increase of 2.5 times more carbon created by those diets compared to my own. My last fact of this video is really one of my favorites. It comes from a Lancet report in 2019 where it compared the different models of change in food production and estimated a reduction in emissions. After these studies were conducted, it found that if everyone were to follow a plant-based diet, emissions could be reduced by 80% in 2050. So this is editing Lana a few days later, and I just wanted to mention something about the video. Thank you for watching, 1, and 2, I do not have all these facts memorized, so if I was looking at my notes, I'm sorry. It's just that when I'm talking about these subjects, I'm a lot more casual than I was in this video. I wanted facts to prove to you on how much this really does affect the environment and how plant-based is really the way to go. I understand that I looked a bit dumb looking at my notes, but I really needed them, and that if you were to ever have a conversation with me about all my vegan journey and all that stuff, it would not really look like that at all. I just wanted to make sure that I would have the right facts, and yeah, well, here's the outro. Thank you so much for watching this video. I made it just to educate people a little bit more on exactly what is happening environmentally when you switch to a plant-based diet. It is super important to know this. I hope this is one of the reasons maybe one of you will go vegan or start to eat less meat. It's definitely one of the reasons why I became vegan. It means a lot for me to know that people are watching these videos. It's really important to try to eat the least amount of meat as possible, since we are starting to face huge effects of climate change and also climate activism. If you're looking for more videos like this, there's certainly more on my channel. I will start making a lot more. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe if you already haven't, and have a nice day.